Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with some more Total War Warhammer 3 DLC speculation. This time, as you can tell from the title, we're looking towards the Trickster and the Imposter. A theme-style DLC between the forces of Grand Cafe, led by the Monkey King, and the forces of Tzeentch, led by the Changeling, so it's very easy to tell who is the Trickster and who is the Imposter. The idea of this DLC speculation came out because the Monkey King and the Changeling have been hinted throughout Total War Warhammer 3, and it would be very easy to see why both would be great adversaries in a possible DLC Lord Pack, which I'm going to go in through details through a bunch of things which could work out in a possible DLC. Not only just the possible units and how the characters would work and so on, but the possible theme. So first, let's start off with the theme itself. At the moment, we know very little about the Monkey King's lore. However, we do know some tidbits here and there. For example, the fact that he kinda does his own thing, and that he is considered both a nuisance and a possible valuable asset to the Dragons of Grand Cafe. This is because he is mostly stationed in the southern parts of Grand Cafe, which borders the land of Koresh and Ind, so he is there as a way to act as a natural deterrent to the Tiger Men of Ind and the Snake Men of Koresh. For the dragons, this means that they have someone that they can count on, even if they might not fully trust him, to keep the borders secure. However, we also do know that Li Dao, the fire dragon, is not very keen on the Monkey King, possibly because the Trickster himself likes to cause a little bit of trouble. Now, we don't know exactly what the full extent of the trouble is. We do know that the Monkey King did take over Grand Cafe at one point, but that was a few hundred years ago, so what his recent doings, we're gonna have to wait and see when Games Workshop or Creative Assembly eventually start dropping some more information. Though we do know that the dragons somewhat try to tolerate him, even as Li Dao has been confirmed to hire some monkey warriors throughout his forces. It could be said that maybe the Monkey King falls under a more chaotic neutral alignment that's more in the sense of Dungeons & Dragons and not Warhammer alignment, so he's not chaotic whatsoever. It's entirely possible that he does have Cafe's best interest in mind, just in his own way, and he could be seen as a sort of anti-hero. We know that the Cafeans do know about him, but many different provinces see him in a different way, and that's because maybe they just haven't seen the true him in a long time. Which now enters our antagonist, the Changeling. So the Changeling is a rather interesting demon of Tzeentch. He is a horror, but nobody has really seen his true form in a long time, where it is even hypothesized that even Tzeentch has forgotten what the Changeling actually looks like, and he could have been sent on a special mission. Tzeentch would know well enough that harmony throughout Grand Cafe, with all its possible forces united in one single unit, would be a massive problem for him, especially as he and the rest of the demons try to make their way into these very strange lands. He would be fully aware of the Monkey King and his doings, and knowing full well that the dragons uniting with the Monkey King in one singular force might present too many issues for possible chaotic corruption, has decided to sow the seeds of corruption and disharmony throughout the lands by sending in the Changeling. The Changeling himself can take any shape or form, and is possibly sowing the rumors that the Monkey King himself is a force of chaos, by taking form of various different types of monkey-based humanoid and just causing pretty much natural chaos throughout the land, which will then make the people untrustworthy of him and possibly make the dragons launch an offensive towards the actual true Monkey King. This would make a lot of sense considering what the Changeling normally does within lore. He's not a fighter, although he can be, but what he does is he acts as an agent. He goes inside enemy lines, he sows paranoia within the forces, he makes kingdoms fall from within. So this would be an interesting plot point. We'd have the demons of Tzeentch getting inside the lands of Grand Cafe and trying to cause some problems, with the anti-hero of the Monkey King trying to clear his name, and it could be worked out in a very interesting way. As the Monkey King, you would play to clear your name. There would be certain events coming up with Cafeans turning against you, you'd have to convince them otherwise, possibly to fight them a few times too, but in the end you're trying to find why people are turning against you. You're trying to make sense of the situation. Possibly with a similar mechanic as that of Oxyotl, not the teleporting, but rather the map system, where you would see random areas where the Monkey King was spotted, apparently, and you have to go investigate. those would be the quest battles themselves. Now, as the Changeling, you'd have a really interesting thing. You'd get the same map and the same kind of events, but rather you're going there to sow the discontent. You're going there, you're starting a new battle and all that, and when you go into those battles, your Changeling looks exactly like the Monkey King, but just tinted in blue. It kind of adds to the theme. Obviously, this is all DLC speculation, but I think something like this would be kind of cool, because that means that you're playing evil Monkey King in a sense. You're the one causing the issues. It's just a rough idea, but I feel like that would be kind of cool. But with that being said, let's start looking towards the actual proper rosters. So as you can guess from the theme, the legendary lord for Grand Cafe would be the Monkey King, which we don't know really much about at this point, so we're gonna have to go really heavy on the speculation here. I'm imagining that he would be a fast-acting melee unit, possibly with no laws of magic whatsoever, but maybe being a heavy buffer. Melee and speed bonuses for the character himself would probably make him an excellent fighter, most likely a duelist too, so already he would be quite drastically different to say both dragons of Grand Cafe at the moment. Since we know that the character himself can be a bit of a trickster, we could see some bonuses towards ambushing, making the gameplay be more focused on skirmishing combat more than anything else. It's possible that he'd also have access to a very fast flying mount in the form of a Nimbus, just for Games Workshop to continue the whole meme aspect of things. They like to kind of add a little bit of humor, and I guess that would also be quite good anyway, because a fast flying mount will allow him to get into other locations quite quickly, which will also allow him to get into combat quite fast and move out of combat should he start suffering. It could be interesting. You never know what's going to happen. He could end up being a spellcaster with a dedicated mix of Law of Yin and Yang, or maybe even some unique spells only available to him. We'd have to wait and see, obviously, as we know next to nothing about this character just yet. In terms of units, that's also a bit of an issue for Grand Cafe, because we know some stuff is missing, but we don't know exactly what things are. This is the problem when an army is based on an army book that isn't available to the public, which is absolutely frustrating, because I bet there's loads of cool stuff within said book. But, with all that being said, we do know that monkey warriors are a confirmed thing. We just don't know exactly how many different types of monkey warriors actually exist. We know different types of monkeys do exist too, orangutans, baboons, and all that, so it could be possible that maybe the Monkey King would have access to his own unique roster, something quite small but dedicated with different types of monkeys. So a melee infantry skirmisher type of unit, and then maybe orangutans to have a monstrous unit too. Because right now we don't have like monstrous infantry when it comes to Grand Cafe. We do have big monsters, but nothing a little bit larger, say on the size of rat ogres or croxigores. It's not out of the question to possibly get one, maybe two, and even three different types of monkey units, maybe with some different weapon variants, just to be able to have something different. In fact, I would prefer that if that would be the case, so we could actually just go full monkey if we wanted to with the Monkey King. And it couldn't be out of the question that they just decide to add in a bunch of different ones, because each wouldn't really need too many things, so they could then easily add in more for here to fill out the roster a lot more, because we know there's so many different cultures and more things in Cafe that we haven't seen, but has been expanded upon a little bit with interviews with Andy Hall, who confirms there's loads of different stuff. Warrior monks could be quite useful too, having been sent by the Dragon Emperor himself or one of the dragons to keep an eye on the Monkey King, who claims to be innocent of these crimes. This could add in a skirmishing unit, which would be melee based and possibly anti-infantry too, just something to have something different, see how that kind of works. Maybe they don't need harmony themselves, same as the monkeys, as they would focus as their own different thing, which would fit with the theme quite well. Admittedly, it's quite hard to kind of write a possible army list for something that we don't even have an army book for. Games Workshop, please just release the book. But I'm trying to add some things which could fit better than other stuff that we already know. And finally, a warrior monk hero, just to add in a melee variant for the Cafean unit roster, as right now we don't have any melee heroes. We do have spellcasters, but they're kind of squishy, so it would be interesting just to have something there to be able to be able to take some damage, possibly act as a buffer lord. Plus, many people have been wondering when we're going to get these dragon monks too. The fact is that they could do a lot with Cathayans, as we know that every region has its own specific culture, so we would see DLCs more as a culture pack, and I would expect more monkey warriors to be added here than anything else. I know some people are waiting for, say, for example, Jade Lions, which could be a good unit in all honesty, and I think those would work out quite well, as it would add in a more monstrous unit, something quite fast to move around, something what we imagine to be extremely durable, because this isn't a living creature. Which could be two different variants, the monster itself and then possibly a monstrous cav version, so you have two different things, which wouldn't really require a lot of work if you have the baseline rigging already done. I know some people are very excited about the crowmen and all that, but I imagine that that will come out when more dragons come out, because they seem more dragon specific, so I doubt that they'd be working for the Monkey King unless the Celestial Dragon Emperor and the Moon Empress have specifically sent the crowmen just to keep an eye on the Monkey King, which could be possible. But let's leave the headache of Cathay aside, because that was just very difficult to look into, considering that we know next to nothing about it, and let's start looking towards Tzeentch. Interestingly enough, no headaches here, because it's simple enough to decide more or less what could be added in for a DLC. Firstly, we would have the legendary lord, the Changeling. Now, we've already given a little bit of his backstory, and the fact is that the Changeling is very popular throughout many settings of Warhammer. He's a very interesting character, purely because he takes the shape and form of other people. Not only that, but he takes their stats and abilities too. It's always been an interesting concept, and it's really interesting fighting against him on the tabletop, because he matches whatever you throw against him. He could literally be based anywhere, but I'm assuming that he'd be somewhere in the southern reaches of Cathay, or maybe even north, as that would be a very unique start position, and he would be a spellcaster. He'd have the Law of Tzeentch, but what would really set him aside would be the whole change mechanic, where it could be done in a really interesting way. He could change into the Monkey King for specific missions and so on, but it could be quite interesting that if he beats a character, any legendary lord, he could turn into them and have their abilities for maybe 5, 10, 15 turns, something like that, where you'd have all their abilities, their skill points and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe it could just be baseline and you just get their physical stats and that's it. Where you'd look exactly the same as the character but with a blue tint. So say for example if you beat Karl Franz, you would look like Karl Franz for a small while, and this could add for a really cool theme, maybe even get some diplomatic relations with Empire factions because you've beaten Karl Franz and people now think that you are Karl Franz. Transformation mechanics like that are completely possible. We've seen it happen with, of course, the Cathayan dragons turning, so it's not out of the question. All they'd need to do is just make a bunch of different legendary lords, copy-paste the literal table, and then add a blue tint. I don't know exactly how this would work, but it would be quite interesting, mainly because it would be fairly unique, and in theory it is possible. That's what some modders have told me at the very least. So yeah, spellcasting and transformation pretty much adds in some fun stuff there. Now, if we look towards missing units, there's a few things that could be done. The first unit would be Changebringers, which is reusing assets, yes, but keep in mind that Creative Assembly do this, and it's a unit that a lot of people could get into. These are Flamers mounted upon Discs of Tzeentch, which means it's a demon unit that we don't have just yet, and I mean, Flamers on Discs of Tzeentch would be absolutely terrifying. You'd have them flying about, you'd be able to do the same amount of damage. You could see quite a lot of uses for these. I mean, I'm just thinking about it right now. There'd be a high tier unit which would be able to support your other stuff from the air, especially with Flamers. I mean, think about Warp Fire Throwers, but that could fly. Those would be really interesting at the very least. Next up would be the Pyrocaster. Now, the Pyrocaster itself is the unit champion for the Flamers, but we don't have that at the moment, and what we've seen from the Demon rosters is that unit champions end up becoming their own thing, so it's not out of the question for them to become a hero. This would be a Flamer hero, so it would have a lot of extra firepower, possibly even be a lot stronger, but will also maybe have some interesting buffing abilities, maybe being able to refill the ammunition of certain units and all that, to be the support hero that Tzeentch kind of needs at the very moment. I'm not saying completely refill ammunition bars and all that, because that would be horrendously overpowered, but we know that once Tzeentch starts losing out on ammunition, you start becoming a lot weaker, especially with your Flamers or even your Horrors, so a support hero might be quite interesting just to add in a bit more flavor. Next would be the Fireworm, which, yes, is another type of Chaos Spawn, but it's got a very unique model. It would possibly be quite good at melee, but also have a range attack too. The thing is, the lore establishes very unique Chaos Spawn, not only just the standard Chaos Spawn for each of the gods, so this could be a way to introduce those, having the Fireworm here for the actual Tzeentch roster, which would have access to, say, for example, range flaming attack, maybe shooting. It depends if they want to make multiple variants. But the idea is to have a Chaos Spawn range unit, so it's usable in both range and melee combat. Plus, it would be nice to just get these unique things into it, as we know they exist in the lore. I'm saying this again, mainly because they would fit really, really well with the whole theme, and it could be that this could be moved to a Warriors of Chaos Tzeentchian faction too, just to have some unique stuff there, rather than just Chaos Spawn in blue tint. And finally, the Mutileth Vortex Beast. Now, we do need to talk about this because it's not actually a Tzeentchian demon, it's an undivided monster, believe it or not, but it could be added in because it does fit with the theme of Tzeentch. And interestingly enough, in Age of Sigmar, it's now classified as a Tzeentchian thing, so it could just be that it goes to the demon roster and then to the Warriors of Chaos roster just to have a bit of mix and match here. I'd love to see some DLC being for cross-faction stuff, you know? So something that comes in for the Demons of Chaos or with the Monogod factions, but is also usable by, say, for example, the Beastmen or the Warriors of Chaos, depending on where it fits. So the Mutileth Vortex Beast is an anti-magic monster. It could increase the chance of miscasting to any enemy spellcasters, and I mean, it's just super cool. This is the main thing about it. It's just cool factor more than anything else. It's one of the best looking miniatures from the 8th edition stuff. It could be done in a way that it summons in some Chaos Spawn, because that's what they used to be able to do on the tabletop. They had loads of different options to be able to do a few different things. Mind you, that was all based on rolling, and I don't imagine that they'd be getting everything because overpowered, but I imagine, you know, being able to have a chance at spawning Chaos Spawn, very low chance, would be kind of interesting. Then maybe also, you know, it's going to have Fear and Terror. It would probably be able to do some shooting attacks just to kind of give it something special. Plus, loads of people have been waiting for this. Like, Creative Assembly should be aware of this at this point, because I see it crop up on the forums a lot. So, yeah, and it fits with the Tzeentchian theme. So, either way, this is kind of enough to just add some units to the Tzeentchian roster, I think. Some unique stuff, some stuff that is just kind of changed over, and then technically a reskin with the whole adding in extra flamer types, having them mounted, and obviously a hero type. But I think this fills up the Tzeentchian roster rather well. In terms of FLC, I can only really think of one thing, because I think it would be skewed towards Cafe, and that would be Li Dao, the Fire Dragon, who obviously does have a lot of history with the Monkey King. We just don't know too much about it, and could work really interestingly enough as a way to implement him into the story. I think that Creative Assembly could do something really fun here, where he's very suspicious of the Monkey King, so he's actively working to find out what the issue is, but he still thinks the Monkey King is up to no good. Plus, it would be nice to just get the other dragon siblings. We know that there's a few remaining. There wouldn't really be a way to implement him as a DLC, because I don't think that there's not too much known about him, and I think the general player base is more interested in the Monkey King rather than Li Dao, who are closely associated, so FLC would work very well for him. This was a difficult video to create, mainly because Cafe is just so unknown at the moment that it was just really tough trying to go into little bits of lore, as yes, we did have 2 lengthy interviews with Andy Hall, and we did get a lot of information, but even then, it's pretty much crumbs, so there's not a lot to base theory crafting on. However, I think something like this would work rather well. I'm curious to see what you guys think, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below, so we can start a bit of a discussion, as I know Tzeentch really needs some help at the moment, and Grand Cafe has so much potential, but it needs to be done in a number of DLC, I think, and just add in all the different cultures. We don't know exactly what that is just yet, but hey, you never know for the future, I guess. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.